Caitlin and welcome to another video. This video is going to be a grocery haul video in which I only spend $1.50 a day on groceries. Now, I know what you're thinking, $1.50 a day is really not that much. That's 50 cents per meal, and I 100% agree with you. So from May 1st to May 5th, I'm going to be challenging myself to live below the line, which means I'm going to try to live at the poverty level or the extreme poverty level in the United States, which is equivalent to only spending $1.50 a day. For them, it's not only on their food, it's also for your clothing and housing and accommodations. And while I realize this isn't realistic for me, the challenge, which was originally started by a youth-based organization in Australia, is to spend $1.50 a day on your food for 5 days total. So basically what I will be doing in this challenge is going out, getting groceries. I can only spend $7.50 on my groceries, and it will be a similar experience to what a person who lives below or at the poverty line in the United States would eat. Obviously, I'm going to do it based around a vegan diet, and because I'm a more health conscious person, I think I will be trying to purchase more health conscious foods, but I am equally excited and nervous. A few vegan YouTubers have done this challenge before, and that's how I actually first found out about it. But when I saw it, I was just like, wow, that sounds miserable. I would never want to challenge. I would never want to challenge myself to do that. Like, that sucks. And so the more I thought about it, the more I realized, well, maybe this should be something that I do, But I'm actually going to talk about that a little more later at the end of the video. But for now, I just wanted to give you guys a brief introduction as to why I'm doing this, and let's go grocery shopping. So, long time no talk. I am currently in my car about to go into the store that I've selected, and I was thinking of the best place where I could get the most food for my money, and I considered going to Aldi, but honestly I think some of the things they sell, the sizes are too big, so I would end up buying more than I would eat in 5 days. So instead, I have a reserved parking spot at the Dollar Tree. Oops, still really close. I honestly never thought I would say that I'm doing my grocery shopping at a Dollar Tree, but here we go. Alright, so I just got back. I have my bag of groceries, and I'll show you guys what I got. So to start, I actually bought a bunch of bananas. I bought them from a different store where they were around, I think, 40 cents a pound. I knew the dollar store didn't sell fresh fruit, so I went somewhere and got these, and I actually bought them the week before because I wanted them to be ripe when I ate them. So I have 5 bananas, one for every day, and this was a little under $1, but I'm just gonna say it was $1. And yeah, I'm probably gonna put them in the fridge now, otherwise they're gonna get a little too ripe, but I got some bananas, so I do have some fruit. Next, for I'd say probably most if not all of my breakfast, I got this box of oatmeal. I decided to get oatmeal because it's very filling, it's an easy grain to cook, and it's very hearty, and oats and banana, I could be totally fine eating that for breakfast any day. So then for my lunches and dinners, I'm probably going to be eating pretty much the same thing every day. But I think the key to shopping on a limited income is to buy staples and to buy things that are higher in calories. So obviously I couldn't go buy a $6 carton of organic lettuce because that would last me like one meal. So I first got a bag of pinto beans. I was actually going to get the black beans, but then I looked at the bags and the pinto beans were £1.50 while the black beans were only £1. So with this, I get more food, and yeah, got some beans. Beans are always a good staple. There's tons of fiber, protein, carbohydrates, the thing to keep you full. And then to go with my beans, I had to get a bag of rice. Now, I will say ideally I prefer to eat brown rice versus white rice, but the dollar store doesn't have white rice, and maybe if you're on a limited budget you can't afford to get brown rice anyways. So this is just long grain white rice, and yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So then I was looking at things to like flavor my beans and rice in my meals, and I was thinking about getting a pasta sauce or some sort of tomato sauce, but then I realized that the cans of diced tomatoes were a lot bigger and I would be able to do more with it. So instead of getting a can of actual sauce, I got a can of diced tomatoes. And as many of you know, I also try to avoid added oils in my diet, and this doesn't have any added oil in it, so I thought it was a win-win. And then my only vegetables that I could afford for a week was a bag of frozen veggies. They had a few different types, but I decided to go with this bag of mixed vegetables. It has green beans, carrots, peas, and corn in it. So this is going to have to last me 5 days. I will admit that I usually eat a lot more vegetables than this, but considering this is all that I can afford, I would just have to make do with this. And then, so finally in total, that's about $6 so far, including the bananas. So I was kind of thinking about what I wanted for my 7th item, and I decided to actually get a jar of peanut butter because if I was thinking analytically, none of the products that I already got had a lot of fat, and fat is an important component in your diet, and it's also really important for satiation levels, because I know, for me at least, if I eat a meal that's like really, really heavy and only carbohydrates and doesn't have like a lot of protein or fat, I get hungry a few hours later, which is not going to be optimal considering I only have a limited amount of food that I can eat for the next 5 days. So I decided to get this jar of creamy peanut butter from the dollar store. I'm not exactly happy with the ingredients. Usually I would just get a peanut butter that just had peanuts and salt, but this does have added sugar. It also has hydrogenated vegetable oils in it, but honestly I think this was the best decision for me in terms of budget and what I was working with. So that's everything that I got. I got a total of 7 items for around $7, so I do have about 50 cents left if I want to spend it on something else. I may go to the grocery store sometimes in the week, maybe get some fruit, or maybe see if I can get some like seasonings to add. In terms of seasonings, I'm not going to add any spices from my cabinet that I normally would use in my cooking, but I am going to allow myself to use salt and black pepper because I think those are staples that most people have in their house. And theoretically speaking, if I didn't have it in my house, I could go to a fast food chain and steal the salt and the pepper. Theoretically speaking, I could also steal the mustard and the ketchup, I guess, but I'm not going to do that. I think that's cheating a little bit too much. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could, but I know me personally, I would never do that, so I'm not going to do that on this challenge. But I am going to use salt and pepper. So now I want to talk a little bit more about why I've decided to do this challenge. I am in no way trying to make fun of people living on an impoverished lifestyle. In fact, I'm attempting to do the opposite. I think that in this world of social media, especially me, because I have food-based platforms where I promote organic produce and sometimes superfoods and all these fancy things, I think sometimes we kind of get lost and forget the fact that there are lots of people out there who can't even afford to feed themselves every single day. And I know for me, that's kind of upsetting and that makes me uncomfortable, and just thinking about that in general and seeing other people do this challenge, it kind of made me feel uncomfortable and realize that I live a very privileged life. So I wanted to do this challenge and I wanted to record the process to sort of raise awareness and show you guys that, hey, even if you can't afford that cold pressed juice at whatever store, or you can't afford the superfood that your favorite Instagrammer or YouTuber is putting in their food, you still have a lot to be grateful for. And I just think that it's important that we all realize how much we actually do have, and if we have the means to do so, try to support other people who don't have as much. Now, I'm not doing this challenge officially with the Live Below the Line organization, so I'm not attempting to raise money because I don't want you all to feel sort of pressure to donate just because I'm doing it. But I would encourage you all to look into organizations, and if you have extra money to donate to companies or organizations like nonprofits who help support people in poverty or help eliminate food deserts in the United States or worldwide especially, because it's a bigger problem in other countries, to look into it. Maybe see if you can afford to donate a few extra dollars. I think it's really easy for us to ignore that there are lots of people who live in poverty, so I just wanted to do this challenge to sort of bring that more to the forefront and to show people that, you know, sometimes people can't afford to eat X amount of calories a day, and they definitely can't afford organic, and they definitely can't afford to like go out to dinner with their friends or go to Starbucks and buy a coffee, things like that. So I just think it's important that we all realize that and learn to appreciate it. And I think that this challenge is going to be really eye-opening for me. I'm going to be documenting all the food and the recipes that I make with this food over the next 5 days, but I'm also going to be sharing like how I'm feeling and my experiences as well, just because I think that is also equally as important. And you know, this food is probably going to be really boring, but if you're in a family who's just struggling to get by, sometimes this is all you can afford. And that doesn't mean that you should look down on these people or be like, oh, you're not good enough because you can't afford organic food. I just think that, you know, we should appreciate everyone where they're at and realize that some people are struggling just to get by and just put food on their plates and their children's plates. So hopefully all of that made sense to you guys and I sort of got my point across and it's pretty clear. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below and I'll try to get back to them. I'm going to link the official website to the Live Below the Line challenge in this video, and although it is May 1st, the time you guys will be seeing this, I would definitely encourage you guys to consider doing this challenge for yourself, because yes, we can never simulate the exact situation of someone who lives in poverty, but I just do think it's a good way to walk a mile in their shoes, if you will, and to understand where other people are coming from and realize that, you know, you do come from a place of privilege for the most part. And to be honest, like, I'm not excited to only spend $7.50 on food. Like, I'm actually kind of scared. I hope that it's enough food that will keep me full and that I don't get really sick, or maybe like my skin will break out because I'm not eating as many greens. But when I think about it in the grand scheme of things, those are all very first world problems, and some people this is their everyday reality. So for me, I realized that I need to suck it up, and I think it's going to be a really interesting experience, and I am excited to share it with you guys. So thank you for watching this first installment of the video. Like I said, I'm going to be recording my experience throughout the next 5 days. I look forward to sharing this experience with you guys, and hopefully it's eye-opening to some of us, me included, and we all gain a more worldly perspective and holistic worldview because of it. So yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!